Hey everyone, it's been a while. I'd like to apologize. I had a busy few days in my personal life, so I had to put off making these videos. However, I'm back now and I'm gonna show you guys, the last few days of plays on the weekly and daily charts we have, and also on the lower time frame charts like the 5-minute, 1 hour chart and 4 hour chart. So, that being said, I'd like to remind everyone to please join the free Telegram group in the description below. Again, we always have these plays being discussed live on the chat, especially between me and WinXSell, and that's a good way of getting these plays and information before I make the videos about them. So yeah, again, please join and you won't regret it. Anyway, so about the charts. So as you know, we have the Fibonacci circle chart on the left, Fibonacci channel chart on the middle area, and the weekly chart, which is a new chart by WinXSell on the right. So first of all, on the daily, as you can see, there were no lines hit for quite a while, except on this one over here. So we have a green line and this red dotted trend line. So if you longed, around 28k based on this trend line here, is a very strong support, and you could have caught this whole pump. Now it's on the daily chart. We always want more than one chart showing the same thing. So you have the daily chart and look at the weekly. This was a region where we had two green lines, two yellow lines crossing, so this is a very strong support zone. So you can literally long any of the green lines. So as you can see, this massive wick over here 3 weeks ago. Last week we had this wick from 28.3, which you could have caught a 2k pump, and eventually we have resistance currently on S1 on the weekly. So what does this tell me? And I look at this chart on the weekly. So what I do is I look at the weekly first, which gives you a direction of the market. Then you go lower down to the daily charts, and then down to the lower time frame charts. So let's go through this together. So beginning with the weekly. So we had a pump from the green lines, okay? And then you have to look for resistance. So where is the most likely zone to have resistance? I usually look for around 2 lines. So in this case we have S1, which is resistance on the weekly. And as you can see, when it broke down, there was no retest, okay? So this is currently resistance. So we had a pump to S1, and also just in case we're wrong over here, we have another line as backup right above. So this tells me this is a short zone for me. Now this is the weekly. So what about the daily? So on the new month, so before 1st of June, we had new pivots. So these come out every quarter of the year. So we have new pivots, and as you can see, matching the S1 resistance, we also had P on the daily pivot. And also on this chart we had a trend line over here and 2 more trend lines above. So what happened here? On the daily, this trend line broke, okay? Although we had some bounces on the lower time frame, so if you shorted this, you would have made some money, maybe on the 1 hour chart or 4 hour chart. However, on daily, this broke. So what did you expect? This broke with no retest, okay? Now look at this. When you have no retest, this isn't confirmed as support yet. So what happened? The next candle broke it, okay? And now this is resistance again. So this is on the daily. What about on the lower time frames? How can we corroborate this information on the lower time frames? Let's go back to the 4 hour, 1 hour, and 5-minute charts, okay? And let's zoom back before the pump happened. So somewhere over here. Yeah, pretty much over here. Okay. So we had 2 lines on the 1 hour as resistance, okay? And they both broke. So when this happens, okay, you don't want to look for shorts at this moment, okay? You would not short when you have this volume of long positions happening. So you wait, okay? Wait until you see some red candles. And I don't mean just one, like this. This doji, this can usually continue. And actually this doji, particularly, is a very strong support when you have it, okay? We'll get back to that later. So what about the 4 hour? Same thing. So once you have 2 broken lines on the 1 hour and a broken line on the 4 hour, you can actually look for a long. You can long and stop loss below the line, or below the line over here, okay? And as you can see, the price never came back down to stop you over here. So again, broken line, broken line. Now you have no lines left except the pivots, but you can ignore these. You have no lines up until 32k, and look where the price hit. So you had 29.9 all the way to 32k, because we expected that if this line breaks, then a pump all the way up. Same on the 4 hour. So look at this. You could have longed from 29.787 and caught all the way up to 31k. That's a 1.2k move, okay? And now here you can short, because look at this. On the 4 hour, you have 2 lines crossing. So if, let's say, you short over here and you're wrong, This is your backup line. And also R2 for confirmation. Now, pivots are very helpful. So you have, P, R1, R2, R3. However, I only like to use them when I have trend line confirmation. So over here, this was a definite short zone for me. And in fact, as you can see, it also matches R2 on the daily, on the 1 hour. So what can you have done over here? So as I mentioned, this doji on the 1 hour is a strong support, right? So once you get a break above R1, you then have doji support, you have R1 support, okay? And you have the trend line, the R1, on the 4 hour as well. So you have 3 supports, and probably even on the 5 minutes. Let me just confirm with you. 30K, 30, yeah, there we go. And also R3 support on the 5-minute chart. So you have 3 charts saying the same thing pretty much. So once you get above, okay, to these lines, let's say you missed your short, okay, which was in my opinion a very obvious short, but anyway, you can then look for a long and the broken resistances from previous. So once you short this or miss it, you can open a long over here and over here, knowing that you can just stop loss below your doji. And look at this, if you stop loss over here, you could have longed these 2 candles and caught all the way up again. So this is how I stay safe. Now, what happened later on? So, this is the major play we had the last few days. This is probably 2 days ago. So, we have the trend line over here, which got hit, okay? So you have the 32.2 at this trend line. We also had on the 4 hour a trend line, which if you look back, came from a long time in history. It's a very strong trend line. And we also had R1. So, you can short. You can have done this 2 ways. Either you have one big order at the line and hope it hits, or you can have 2 orders at R3 or the line, and you can DCA, get a good entry. And you can short. Now where do you exit this play? So on the 1 hour you have no lines. However, on the 4 hour you have this very strong line, okay, which as you can see has a lot of history to it. Bottom wick, and these candle touches, okay, so this is a strong line. Once you break above, you can long it. So imagine you did this, okay? Imagine you shorted the 4 hour 32K line, all the way down to 31.4, so that's almost a 1K move. Then you can long, so 31.3 up to 31.7, another 500 move. So again, these are 4 hour candles, okay? So you have plenty of time to get these plays. And once you have this play, you can then get back in again, stop loss below the line, and you can do this for 12 hours straight. Now, what happens? Goes up to the line again. You have now even more closely R3 and the 4 hour, and you can short. Now, in this case, when you have many tests, I would not short this line again over here because, it's getting pumped up twice in a triangle pattern, okay? So what I would do is either keep my orders very small over here, okay? Knowing I have, again, 1 hour backup, just in case. If I get a small position and it pumps, I won't have a big loss. So I can DCA at the red lines on the 1 hour. Now again, something to keep in mind, are color coding. So red lines are very strong resistances, and green lines are very strong supports. So what I do is, when I see a green line on the charts, it tells me I should be looking for longs somewhere here, longs only. When I see red lines, it means it's time for shorts. Okay, so in this area, I was looking for short plays only, not longing. So you can just wait, a day, take a day off, relax. You have some more candles for me. Eventually, you get a close below the line. You see, look at that. And once this breaks on the 4 hour, you then have resistance over here. Okay. Now you can do this in 2 ways. You can either short as soon as the candle closes below. Okay. But what I like to do is I like to wait for a retest. So over here, I put my short play at this line and didn't fill. Okay. Next candle opened, so I raised my order up here to this line again. Didn't fill. Eventually, look what happened. I put my order over here, okay? Actually, I put 2 orders because I had 2 lines. So I put 0.2 BTC and 0.2 BTC orders. And they both filled. And now look at this. And I caught this dump all the way down to 30K 0.5. That was my TP. I thought that this would hold, but it didn't. So, it's me complaining about making less money. But anyway, this was a massive profit short for me and many of us in the group. And same on the 1 hour. So look at this. So once you get your short open, look on the 1 hour, there's no lines all the way until 30K. So you can short, so you have to take your TP at 30K, keeps you safe. And I say this because, imagine you had a short to support, you don't take profit, then you watch it bounce. So you have less profit then. I would much rather take profit here when I know it could bounce, than get greedy to wait for more candles. So now what's next from over here? Okay, so we had a very, very nice dump. If you were in short, obviously. If you were in long, I feel sorry for you. However, you had the charts, so you know what you should have done. So now in the 5 minutes, we have this very strong purple line over here, resistance, support, wherever it hits next. And on the 1 hour, so for me this is very difficult because we have a bunch of lines with massive wicks, and there's clearly a lot of volume over here. So I would rather wait for a few more candles to form, and I can see a pattern more clearly, okay? However, this is the 1 hour. Look on the 4 hour. So, we have support on the 4 hour at 29.5. Now this line, I would long, and let me tell you why. If you see the previous line, there was a lot of traffic over here, okay? And the line eventually broke. So this is a very, very strong line to long, alright, at this point. Now, why would I not have longed, or shorted, sorry, would not have shorted this breakout? So let me tell you. As you can see, this line had a bunch of breakouts. So you have first breakout, back down, breakout and back down, breakout and back down. So I would not short this, even though this happened previously. Now the reason being, we have a rule in WinXSell. After 3 touches, the fourth time is very risky. So once we had almost 3 fake outs and back down again, I would not expect this to do the same thing. So I would only look for a short at the higher lines, okay, on the 4 hour. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to long. If it happens, I will long this line next, because I also have pivot as support, and I have even more lines on the 1 hour which match these lines. Now, let's go on the daily chart and confirm these numbers. So on the daily, actually, there is a much easier play in my opinion. So what I would do on daily now is look for a short. So for example, this trend I mentioned earlier, okay? If today closes below this line, this is now resistance. So I'll literally move the mouse to this candle, scroll up, and I can see over here I have 30.3k, which can be a nice short. So once I have this number in my head, I'll go to the lower time frame charts, okay? I'll look for 30.3k. Oh, and look at that. It's literally at the R1 on the pivot as well. So this can be a nice short zone for me, okay? If we don't hit this line first. Let's see the 1 hour. 30.3, so it's right next to R1 and the trend line. So again, I now have a short confirmation on 3 charts, 1 hour, 4 hour, and the daily chart, okay? And now what about any possible longs? So let's look at this. So we have the next support on daily on the flip channel chart at S1 at 26.9, 26.8, but we also have this really, really strong support, the fib channel line, which we can see bounced off from back at 12th of May. So this is my new long zone now for a strong long, very, very big order on longs. I have 2 lines, very strong lines, and let's see if it matches the weekly. So we have 26.7 and 26.2. Weekly is 28.3, so not this line, it would be this line, 27.1, and here we had 26.8, so very close. And we have 2 lines on the weekly at 26.6 and 26.7. So do they match? Yeah, 26.7, 26.2. So what I would do in this case, I would only long the numbers which match this zone. Okay, so here I have definitely a bounce, at least on the lower time frames, on 26.8. Okay, so that's how I work. I use these 2 charts to get my direction. Now I'll go to the 4 hour and 1 hour charts, and let's try and find those numbers on these charts. So 26.6 right at the S3, which is very, very strong on the 4 hour, and also a trend line, okay, assuming these lines break. However, remember, these charts are weekly, we have 7 days for these candles, so anything can happen on the lower charts by then. So let's assume that these all break, okay? This is also a support which matches the weekly charts. So if you're a swing trader, this would be the best entry for you. If you're a scalper, you can hit all of these lines. Let's go on the 1 hour as well and check. So we go down, we have 27.6, so no. We also have 27.1, and in the future we'll have 26.3, 26.6 again, S3 support. So again, confirming my 26.3k. Now, this is a very, very unlikely scenario in the short term. However, this is where I will save my bigger orders for. So in the meantime, what can we do on the lower time frames? So same thing, guys. I look at the 4 hour, okay? So here I have 29,595, or 29.5 flat. Does it match any numbers on the 1 hour chart? So yeah, we have backup at 29.3, 29.4 on the 1 hour. And let's see on the 5-minute chart on the white doubted, 29.4. Okay, so if I'm not really sure in this scenario, okay, I'll just wait. I always say, you don't have to chase every candle, there's always a play. I'd much rather wait and, not lose any money than try and chase a candle and lose money. So guys, that's pretty much a summary of the last few days and how we're currently using the WinXSell lines. I've been calling out some numbers on the free Telegram group, which have been playing really, really accurately. So again, I do suggest you join the group and pay attention when we mention this stuff. We always try and explain why we're doing this, or we show you our charts. Ask any questions you want. We'll always help you if we have time, obviously, or if we're on the live chat, we'll reply to you there and then. And again, guys, these charts are money. Please use them, okay? Especially the 4 hour, 1 hour, and the daily charts. These are very, very good for your longer term plays. And I'm loving this weekly. I made lots of money on this weekly with these 2 candles over here, the green lines. These are brilliant. And if we ever get to these red lines, these are massive shorts for me. Absolutely massive shorts. And actually, let's actually just check the red lines. So I'm just curious at this point. So let's say we'll pump, a few weeks. We'll have 35.9, 36.7, 37k. So we have a 2k range on the weekly. However, on the daily, we have ATR at 33.6, we have 33.8, 34k, so these are my weekly lines. However, if we check 35.8 on the weekly, let's see. Oh yeah, that's in the weeks, so probably somewhere over here. That would be 35.8, so this zone, these 2 lines, very, very strong. So yeah, this would be a nice short zone, especially on the lower time frames for you guys. Or you can, just swing it and use maybe, 5x leverage, 10x leverage, and ride your shorts from this zone. Alright guys, so hope you enjoyed the video. I know I was a bit rushed, but I had a lot to cover these last few days. I'll upload more often, hopefully. I enjoy making these videos for you guys, especially when I see you guys make money off them. And most of you do, so I'm proud of you guys for following the charts and listening to WinXSell. Alright guys, so good night and don't get wrecked.